Sorry for that picture. Her name is Paris, the daughter of my husband, Paris. At times she's grounded. These are different phases. She's grounded, meaning she requires regular contact, intervention. I'm not even joking. She just walked out of school 2 years ago and says, nah, I'm not coming back. And we struggled. Then, just last month, we got a text, I'm going to Aussie. When? Tonight. She's 17. However, she was head girl at intermediate, so we know her potential. We're just waiting for her to bloody realise it. She's also, all this potential, she's at 14, Hawke's Bay Rugby, Hawke's Bay League. The next two, they're learning, they got jobs, they spend all their money on stupid cars. But they made that cake. What I done was, I started making it, put it on my dad's record player. He doesn't know. They come along and says, what are you doing? Move. They made this cake. Cool, eh? The next two, both studying. They're my flying boys. Learning to fly, learning to fly. One at the back studying fine arts. The one in the front, he was sharing his aspirations with me about a month ago. He's 23, 2, don't remember. He has a job and a career, but what he's starting career, what he's talking to me about is he wants to work out how to buy a home. He's currently living in Brisbane, and I thought, good boy, when do you want to buy a house over there, though? The one in between, he's on his last year of his degree. He's starting to move into the soaring space because he's got a dream, he's got a pathway, he's got aspirations. He actually doesn't share them with me, he doesn't talk to me much, that one. Don't know why. The last guy, he's my mātāmua, the firstborn. He's 20-something too, I think he must be 24? 26 makes me old. At the moment, he's sorted. He's actually in Chicago at jump school for a month. He's going to get his tickets to become a tandem jumper. So this is my mihi, this is my whānau, this is me. I recognise we didn't share a lot of the word love the last 3 days. I love these kids. They're my kids. Okay, on to the boring part. I'm just going to do a brief review to Piringa, day one. This day was about our connections and our relationships. This is the day we heard from our distinguished influencers, our government leaders, our international contributors. Hang on, my Samsung's vibrating. Media Picaro Kawate, Te Pou Matakana chair. Isn't she something? Isn't she? Most times when she gets up to speak, you can see her activism coming through. She can't help it, but what she's good at is she's rather savvy at being able to deliver a message and smack you in the face with it. I won't mention her, Eve, who said to me, oh, you must enjoy working with Meripeka, she must be lovely. And I looked at her and I went, that's not a descriptor that I would use for Meripeka. He wahine toa koe, he wahine kaha, he wahine kaupapa, he wahine kōkirikiri, he wahine pautoko. She is bold with strength, with experience. She's steadfast. She's inspirational. She's starting to make me blink. She's actually quite fun when you spend some time with her. She constantly challenges those that need it. Yes, it was with a piff and a slight eye roll. While staring down the barrel of a gun, of a camera, it doesn't matter. She salutes and recognises the movement of Whānau Ora is because of our kaiarahi. It's because of them that we're in the front door, that we're at the table making plans, making aspirations with them. We're here for an enduring relationship. I hear her say that all the time. And it's because of our kaiarahi and their mahi daily. Next, Minister for Whānau Ora, the Honourable Minister Hinari. You know, I just think, kia kaha, Minister. We actually need him. We need him on the inside while we work on the outside. We really do need that. He has a real taumaha task in the parliamentary wing. His job is to convince his colleagues about Whānau Ora. You know, just to understand, it's a lot of wānanga. You don't need to be a senior press secretary to see that this is not going to happen overnight. Anyway, kia kaha to our rangatira. He also spent some time, Minister Hinari, expressing his concern for workforce fatigue. Like Tash Kemp mentioned this morning in the panel, she's not convinced by his kōrero he delivered. Me too. I have a response for that. Starts with shiitake mushroom. Shut the front door. It's really simple. Make good on budget 2019 for Whānau Ora. Yeah. We need to put such bold recommendations forward to our minister. All those in favour say aye. Aye. Carried. Kia ora. Like many people advised also, the world of politics doesn't belong to politicians and senior leaders. We all need to stay current with news and politics, but don't go buying those Pākehā media papers and newspapers. Stay in the space. This is our space. Stay in the game. Many of us have cut our teeth in politics in our marae, our whānau politics, our whānau drama. If we can cut it there, gee. We moved on to, we were privileged to have some international contributors. Richard Kennedy, Social Value International. He comes from a network, and their goal is that they want to change the way the world accounts for value, the world. What a lofty goal. It's a movement here that we in Aotearoa are all involved in through Whānau Ora. He reminds us that this data, we can tick that off. Our data belongs to our whānau. It's held in trust by all our Whānau Ora partners within our regions. I particularly liked how he highlighted that, you know, he's an international, of an international level. He says the Waiparaira framework constantly responds to changing needs of stakeholders, and that it is the best in the world. I was really impressed with that, the best in the world. Here's my quote of the day. Up next we had John. He's authored significant reports about impact and cause across both New Zealand and Australia. He highlights that sustainability for not-for-profit organisations is a real challenge. Pretty much we need to pump out some SROIs. His message is that we need to put more emphasis on social value, and that we need to value what we do, where our investments go with our whānau. That's pretty easy to do. These are my thoughts. We can do this by sharing more narratives. We need to up our game and our brand, Whānau Ora, on social media channels. We need to jump into more thought leadership places. This happens on social media. We need to use our data to promote more stories. And we need to recognise that all the outcomes that our whānau achieve are successes and share them more. I only hear about mine and Tāmaki, that's where I'm mahi. I come to these to hear about everyone else's successes. That should be a little message to us all. We're not even sharing amongst ourselves. This is one way we can value the work we're doing. I don't know, I thought it was quite funny. Someone like, I call them geeks. That's a respectable name. I giggled to myself, he was going hard out, and then he goes, now this really excites me. Boom, another graph came up. I thought it was funny. Tim Island, Chief Executive of ABSEC. Here. There you are. You know, the stolen generation is an upsetting and shocking thing that happened to your people, to your tamariki, to your whānau. And I think we all felt that. And from the facts that you shared, it seems that the removal of Aboriginal children is still occurring. But I was heartened to hear that you are seeking what we refer to as tino rangatiratanga, that you're looking into policies that care for your own children. Tino rangatiratanga for us is the right to determine our own future in a Māori way. That's what that means. You're also recognising that whakapapa and whanaungatanga connections matter. So we're on that journey. We're actually sharing that journey with others. So you're not far from where we are. Kia ora. We heard from our Indigenous future makers. Erina from Ruapehu Whānau Trust. We're privileged to get a look into her kaupapa going down stats, stories and solutions. Stats only tell one part of the story. Whānau stories tell how it is on the ground for whānau. Is it my time? You put me off now. Awarangi, Director for Social Impact and Innovation. She's our superstar up here. She talks about how our kaiarahi provide wraparound services for whānau. You know, our kaiarahi have multiple roles, from mental health support workers, budgeters, health advisors, tikanga engagers, kaikaranga, physical trainers, mentors. We know this, and a lot of value. I picked up a common theme on Monday, was a lot of mihi to our kaiarahi, our frontline people. There are challenges we face, and Awarangi talks, walks and breathes that we're working towards an enduring, sustainable change and transformation for whānau. Our distinguished influences. Emeritus Professor Sir Mason Drury. I've got to let you know that traditionally the closing plenary is reserved for him, but y'all got me. Talk about filling some big shoes. Yes, I was very, very nervous. I wasn't feeling inadequate. But his words of comfort to me were, "You're Ngāti Kauwhata, you'll be fine." Now this is why he has those titles. Emeritus Professor. He creates Indigenous knowledge. He creates equations for success. He was referred to as our Obi-Wan Kenobi. But I'm going to up his rank and give him the status of Master Jedi. He really is. Whānau tino ora, we have an equation for success. We still have challenges, as we all know, but he talks about leadership for whānau, by whānau. He also put up a pretty, another thing he just spins out, you know, like whare tapa whā, Whānau Ora ×2, whānau kawa. It's not new, but it is something that he put on the table with us. Whānau are rich with leaders, we just need help to help them build it up. Dame Tatiana Turia, our whānau of Whaiora. Hang on. Did I say that right? Our whaia of Whānau Ora. Our boldest politician, our most impactful politician. Then as she realised it, but she collectivised us for impact when we marched as a Māori nation. We must not be complacent. We must not let words divide us. Over the last 3 days, we heard from our providers. We workshopped and networked. She called us to action, called us to arms. We must continue to stand for something. We had Te Piringa panel. Thank goodness the women were in there. My takeaways. Best economic models don't work. We need to provide opportunities for whānau to be engaged in economic strategies for enduring wealth and enduring well-being. You know, this panel started to amp up just when Matiro, Willie and Debbie started to discuss vigorously their opinions. Te Hure Kautanga panel, led by Debbie Ngārewa. This is a panel of 4 wahine toa from across our motu sharing their experiences. You know, in this space, there's a lot of collisions and obstacles for whānau, but we know this space best. Did I just go past it? We must remind ourselves that we're on a kaupapa. We're not a program, we're not a project. I like that. We have George, I didn't know how to say his last name, Liakos. When he was from Spark Strategy, I thought he was from like Telecom Spark. I was like, oh yeah, we got Telecom here. He tells us we need to speed things up. Yep, we know. But we need to truly focus on relationship building. And this could be a real mission amongst ourselves. We've got to leave no room for personal gains, organisational gains, and sort of jump on that collective bandwagon. Otherwise, well, we're just going to be left behind. What I also liked is when writing reports, he challenged us that we should, when we write our reports, we should also add the real stories. How many whānau are left with $30 for kai for the week? How many are still living in cars? How many 4 or 6 member families are sharing a room with another family or 2? How many whānau are still in motels? What kind of debt are they still ticking up? How many months have they been in this situation? We need to change the dial on risk reporting. We really do. I reckon we should all do that as report writers. Not just do what we need to report on. Ooh. You need to have a look at your board. I'm going to jump forward. I ran out of time to put on PowerPoint or the other panels and workshops, so I just want to acknowledge them. Awesome, you fellas. Too much, thank you. Te Tihi, Navigating Futures, I actually went into that one. I had to go in because my 2 cousins were running it, and I wanted to make sure they had numbers. Navigating Futures, data and tech, Brad and Tureia. I always love going into their data workshops, their data portal. It's something that makes me, it works for me. Realising impact with Leslie and Keita, positioning leaders to lead with Awhimai, social media with Stace. These were some of the workshops going on. Te Pou Waitanga this morning, awesome you fellas. Reinforcing Whaia Dame Tatiana's call to action. Vanessa talking about we have a role when collecting data, we have a role as kaitiaki. Kiri Kōwhai talking about data sovereignty. Thank you, that's your little brief on that. I'm going to jump back. You need to have a look at your board. I hope you don't mind, but I'm going to ask our board to stand up. Pāhia, kei konei, or has he gone for a nap? He has a Suzanne. Tureia, are you here? Stand up, please. See? Pāhia's gone for a nap, eh? I want you, and Meripek up front here, we also have Robin. I put us, yet stand for a little while. I put us up for you to all have a look at, like George challenged. We met yesterday to have a bit of a debrief. We had a board meeting. Who has a board meeting during a conference? But we were having good conversations. Actually, it's more than conversations. We are concerned about how we resource our providers to carry out the kaupapa in your regions. And Meripek is asking, how do we scale this up? How do we amp it up? You know, in the face of a review, a new Minister for Whānau Ora has been here practically 10 minutes, really. A new coalition government, in the face of excessive reporting, data collection, evidencing our mahi, your mahi. Merepeka put to us, do we need to be an activist board? You need to tell us, do we need to be an activist board? Yes. Yeah. When Māori are unhappy, we let it be known. Some of us do stupid things, some of us do clever things, we mobilise as a people, but truly that's what we're asking ourselves. Do we need to be an activist board? What do we need to do? What does that mean to be an activist board? We're not happy anymore with putting Merepeka up to have those strong, inspirational conversations, delivering inspirational messages. We're looking at how we amp this up. Oops. Here's our board having a nice photo with the review panel. The Whānau Ora review panel. And to be honest, we're uncertain of what the review may look like. But what we are certain of is that Whānau... You can sit down now, thank you. Kia ora. What we are certain of is that Whānau Ora is our intellectual property, meaning Māori, not Te Pou Matakana's, it's Māori intellectual property. We are certain that our measurement framework cannot be matched. It's incomparable to any other. We are certain that we will not exist in someone else's economic framework. We are certain that we are here for the long run. They might take our funding, they might try and disestablish us. Watch this space. That's what we say. We refuse to be referred to as patients, as prisoners, as criminals, as clients. We're whānau. And e ke pānuku, e ke tangaroa, e ke pānuku. Our board understands this whakatauki. It's the force as the wave swells. It's the build-up in the undercurrent. Pahi was going to do a haka. Anyhow. I put this little video together at lunchtime. This is some of our highlights from the 3 days. Kia ora.